Hey, it's Taylor with Mom on the Spectrum, and my camera's doing this new weird thing where it centers on my face, so let's try it and see what happens. This video is going to be unedited. I guess y'all tend to like those where I just kind of go without a plan. um, and I'm totally out of executive functioning to be able to plan anything, so that works out well. I thought I'd talk a little bit. Some of you have asked about content creation as an autistic person, and I have a lot to say about that, but I can also cover other topics that are related to our community while I talk about this, like uneven productivity, demand avoidance, creativity in general as an autistic person, burnout. So we're going to cover some of those topics. And this is Mama needs to get a video up, and this is really all I have the capacity for. So yeah, I'm not going to edit it. So I do want to tell you about this fun new little toy that I have. Because again, Mama's got to bring home bacon. This summer has been challenging as an autistic parent. And part of what makes content creation so hard is that it's so unpredictable, like from month to month. And I'm kind of used to that. I grew up with parents as entrepreneurs and grandparents as entrepreneurs. I grew up like in the back of my grandparents' baseball card shop when I was little. And my parents have always run their own businesses. So, I'm kind of used to that blueprint for life, but it doesn't necessarily make it easier. It just means that it's a little more predictable in its unpredictability, if that makes sense. But anyway, okay. I genuinely am really excited to share this with you. So a lot of you have heard me talk about the Oh No roller. Sorry for the background noise, which is my favorite fidget of all time. And it's the only reason that I share things with y'all is because I love them. Like I have like 3 companies that I like to work with, and this is one of them. Okay, they make really, really high quality stuff. Okay, well, their new gadget is meant to resemble 2 poker chips, like sliding them around. It's so satisfying. It's kind of concave on the other side. Oh my gosh, they're magnetized. And I've got a code for 10% off in the description if you want to check it out. But you can't go wrong with either of these. Okay, that's all I'll say. And then I just recently, just as an update, I just got a little care package from someone in the community. Y'all are amazing. This is from April. So for those of you who know, I got to speak at a conference with Temple Grandin this summer, which was amazing. And you'll have to go check out that video to hear the story of the cactus pen. But anyway, Temple has my cactus pen, and the sweetness of this April that you found a cactus pen with a pink flower on top of it. I opened this up and I really needed this. This is such a sweet gesture. So thank you for my cactus pen. Okay, so content creation. Goodness, it's so hard. I always like to remind everybody, what you see on the video is a very brief snapshot of my life at one small moment in time. And so, for example, the video that I put up last week, Sex on the Spectrum, I shot that weeks ago. It was edited weeks ago. And I finally got it up. And I was a little bit intimidated to talk about that topic anyway, not because there's anything wrong or shameful about it, just because a lot of people have strong reactions to that topic. And I'm a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser. So what you see when you're watching stuff online, that may or may not be where I'm at in that moment. And like I said, this summer has been incredibly difficult. I've been behind the scenes a lot and honestly not able to work very much, which has been really hard for me because I like to be a workhorse. I like to be productive. And I'm just really, being thrown into a completely different schedule for the summer with my kids being at home, trying to navigate that is like, just every day is kind of like a new, finding grounding and like a new constantly changing reality. I don't know. It takes so many spoons. It takes so much energy. And so my kids are going back to school next week, and our routine will be a lot more predictable, which I think will be helpful for me. But just in terms of navigating work at home. So one thing forgot to even write on my list, but the fear of being perceived. So this is something that autistic people struggle with a lot, is like it's almost like part of our brain shuts down if we're being watched by someone else. So even like creating this video right now, it was a struggle for me because I know my kids are in the other room, and it's hard for me just knowing that they're like, usually I don't shoot any videos at all if there's anyone in the house at all. And I think that's part of why I haven't been able to put out much stuff this summer, because if somebody's in the house, I don't want to record myself. And that makes it really hard to be a content creator, especially as a mom. So fear of being perceived definitely plays into it. This camera change is throwing me. So that definitely plays into it. Fear of being perceived when you're creating videos that can be seen by anybody in the world, it's kind of like, that feeling when different groups of your friends meet that like have never met before, and you're like, wait, like this, no, you're not supposed to meet. Like, what you're trying to figure out how to be each version of yourself that you are for those people. Not that you're fake or like disingenuous, but it's kind of like this clashing, mental clashing of how do I navigate everybody seeing this at the same time. So I don't know, but yeah, burnout, the burnout surprise. Let's talk about that. Lately, burnout has been a surprise. Like, oh, guess what? No warning, you're burnt out. You're in burnout mode. And once you're there, it's like, it's so hard as a content creator because, especially I'm a single mom, I got to keep going. I got to pay the bills, and it's exhausting because a lot of times when I'm in burnout, if I keep going, I push myself further into burnout. And so I've been trying to just lay kind of low this summer and give myself grace, which is again really hard because I'm an Enneagram 1, which is the perfectionist, and I like to work, and I like to work hard at things, and my capacity to do that has been really low. So there's that, the burnout of just like, well, what do you do when you have to keep going when you're in burnout? And I think the answer is just the bare minimum, and be nice to yourself. And some simple things you can do are drink water, stay hydrated. That can help you stay regulated better than just about anything. Try to go to bed on time, prioritize sleep and rest, and do small things that you do have the energy for. I was planning on working all day today, and I didn't feel right. Like my body felt really, I don't know. I felt my nervous system like my body feels electric today, but like in a really upsetting way. Like there's too much energy, but it's also like a tired energy. I don't know. So yeah, it's hard. So here I am. I thought, well, I have the energy to just create something, but nothing that's planned. Okay, so let's talk about demand avoidance. Okay, so you talk about like trying to find something that the algorithm likes. I don't want to make anything that the algorithm likes. I don't want to look at a prescribed, suggestion list for content to make. That just feels gross and icky. And there's no judgment for other people who do that. I think especially for autistic people, it's just especially challenging because we generally really value and prioritize authenticity. Not that you can't be authentic when creating content that you think will do well algorithmically, but I want to create things that I feel like I have the energy for and feel like serve my community. And a lot of times that, especially lately, like the past 6 months, my videos just they haven't hit the algorithm, which is, I can say I don't care about numbers. I mean, I feel like everybody does to some extent. But for me, it's more just about like being able to create a consistent income for my family, And so at some point I do have to care about the algorithm because I got to keep the lights on. So just balancing that is kind of weird. And then when I do feel like I create content that should hit the algorithm, like my last video, Sex on the Spectrum, I didn't create that for the algorithm. I legitimately created that because my small online community, well, it's not really small. There's like 600 of us now. I'll put a link in the description. We were having this conversation about like actual real life accommodations that help in the bedroom. And so I compiled those. And here's an example of my work timeline. So we had that conversation, I think when I was looking back at the comments, it was in March of this year. And I was like, oh, this is such a great conversation. There were so many great suggestions coming in. I was like, I'm going to make a video about this because I think it'll be really helpful for the community. It might have been in February. So March, April, May, June, July. So I didn't shoot that video until 5 months later. And that was like, I felt like that was high on the top of my list of videos to shoot. And I didn't shoot it till 5 months later. So kind of the evolution of that video, by the time I finally got it up, it was about 6 months from the time the idea originated and the time I actually posted it. And that reminds me of a reel that I saw the other day about ADHDers, like the real ADHD test, how it should be when you go to the psychologist. And one of the questions was, how long does it actually take you to do laundry, like to finish a full load of laundry? And I just had to laugh because I think for me, it's probably like 10 days. Like our playroom has kind of turned into laundry room. I'll just keep all of, like, basically until we're out of clothes, that room fills up. And you're learning my secrets here. I just close that door until we run out of clothes. And then then it's unavoidable. Then I have to face the mountain and fold everything. So yeah, I guess a lot of times that's how it is with content creation too. Like I have this list of videos here that I've been wanting to make forever. And I don't know. Like as soon as it's on a list, then I become demand avoidant about it. Like, well, I want to talk about what I want to talk about that day. I don't want to base my content off of something on a list that previous Taylor prescribed. Like it's just such a mind game sometimes. Like lately I've just been thinking, I want to quit thinking. I just want to exist. I want to quit thinking. And I guess on that note, another thing I wanted to mention was prioritization. I've noticed it's really hard for our community to prioritize things. And especially with content creation, the whole wide world is my canvas. I can connect with any audience on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I can, create a post with graphic design. I can create a new class to teach. I can teach a live class. I can make a video. I can write, it's like I could write a song. I've been wanting to do something musical lately. It's like trying to figure out how to channel my time and energy. A lot of times it just leads me to kind of spiral and be like, well, I guess I did nothing today. That's not totally true, but especially this summer, it has felt like it. Or when I do prioritize something, like, I guess one good example is last year. Has it really been that long? Last year, I was wanting to create kind of a New Year's program for 2024, and it was going to kind of be how to prioritize. I'm putting this together on the spot right now. And it was just going to be kind of like an autist guide to New Year's resolutions. And it turned into basically what I've decided is probably going to be my first book. So it was supposed to just be like a little handout that I could share with y'all, and I was going to teach a class over it. I think it's like, I don't remember if it's 20 pages or 30 pages. It turned into something that I call how to unstuckify your life. And it's really great. I'm really proud of it. But it was like, it became such this huge monster that took on a life of its own. And now it's like, well, I don't really even think it's a PDF. Like I think it needs to, I need to flesh it out and make it a book. I need to make it like a video course, a video series. So I start with this small idea, and it's like, I can't keep it small. So that was like one thing on my list to do that week was to create, the New Year's resolutions PDF. And it turned into like a 2-month ordeal where I was trying to it kept growing, and now it's a PDF, and now it's a class, and so I struggle with it. I think that I've noticed autistic people were really, really good at making connections. And there's some research to back that up about just the different connections that our brain is able to make. And so I connect information to other information all the time. It's like how somebody needs to just cut me off and be like, this is where it ends. But even when I say that, I'm like, that's impossible. You can't just cut my brain off and say, okay, stop connecting and stop evolving this idea. Just there's no final point of evolution for any idea that I have ever. It just like keeps expanding into an infinite universe of possibilities. And like, what do I do with that? What do I do with that? It just becomes exhausting, and it lends into the burnout. And I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. We talked about demand avoidance. We talked about burnout surprise. I don't know what I meant by this. Planning equals unpredictable. This was like the 15-minute ago, Taylor. I mean, there's got to be, that's ironic in itself. Planning equals unpredictable. We'll come back to that. People pleasing. I know a lot of us struggle with people pleasing. Hello, the internet's not a very nice place, but one thing hopefully you've heard me say on this channel, I feel like we kind of have the nicest, kindest corner of the internet in the whole world. And I'm really grateful to that, because I literally wake up to messages every day of people being kind to me. It's the coolest, best job in the entire world. And I love this community so much. But, sometimes I struggle to present my ideas directly or in a certain way, because I try to consider how the whole wide world is going to interpret what I say. But I know, I know the answer to that is like freedom lies in me just being me and doing whatever I need to do. And the people that it's for are going to say yay. And the people that it's not for are, okay. I don't want to edit this, but this is an incoming call from my kids' school about their teacher. So I'm just going to have one cut and I'll come back. Okay, hopefully this isn't too different of a frame than where I left you at. So with people pleasing, though, I feel like it's particularly difficult for autistic people because we're so used to masking, covering up what we want and need and what we want to say and contribute to the conversation, because we're so worried about figuring out how we're supposed to show up or what other people want and need. And so that just kind of just really complicates things. And I feel like I've found a lot of growth in that area. Sometimes it almost becomes a form of demand avoidance where it's like, no, I'm just going to do it anyway. Like, this topic should be taboo, but I'm just going to talk about it or whatever. And, this topic is going to make people mad, but let's do it. So, demand avoidance is a funny little monster. Like sometimes it just rears its ugly head and it actually works because it motivates me to do something that I feel like I shouldn't do. I don't know if that's making sense. Okay, I still don't know what the planning equals unpredictable means. What did I even mean by that? No idea. Oh, and just like I feel like I'm a completionist in the sense of like if something can be done, I'm going to do it all the way. And I talked about that a little bit, but when it comes to comments, that's how I feel. It's like there was a point when I was running the channel when I could reply to every single one of you, and now I'm super grateful that our community has grown so much. It's just impossible. I can't. Every day I have emails, comments, direct messages, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, emails, my online community. It's one of those things that kind of paralyzes me because I'm like, well, if I can't reply to all of them, am I going to reply to any of them? And I do, but it's, it goes back to that trouble with prioritization where it's like, how do I deal with this? And then a lot of times I just get stuck kind of spinning out. And that's become one sign that I kind of know my executive functioning is struggling, when I just find myself spinning out on the same problem without coming up with a solution. And I try to make sure I'm stemming and taking breaks and Even just identifying the problem out loud can be helpful too. But man, prioritization, being a completionist, all of these things kind of can work together to create a really difficult landscape for content creation, I think. The other thing I wrote is there's no blueprints for this. There's no, there's so many self-help books, there's so many business books, but how many of them are geared towards neurodivergent people? I mean, I'm starting to see a couple of them come on the market. I haven't checked them out enough yet to recommend any, but it's like there's no real blueprint to show us how to do this as a neurodivergent person. And the uneven productivity of all of this, which I talk about a lot on the channel in other videos. But it makes it difficult because a lot of times the algorithm rewards regular postings. Like, there's a better way to say this. Losing my words. Just when you publish consistently. And that's not how most neurodivergent brains work. A lot of times I'll have like this huge batch of content creation where it's like, oh, everything's flowing and I'm like flooding the market with all these videos. And then there's like a long stretch of time where it's like crickets, like, oh, where did Taylor go? And I think that that's not great for the algorithm, and then I'm like, well, why do I care? And it's like, I don't really care. But again, I need to be able to provide for my family. And man, it's a messy little web. What else did I write on here? Just having something on the calendar. We've talked about it on the channel before. It's kind of that idea of, if you have a dentist appointment on the calendar, it's like, okay, today I have a dentist appointment. So that's the only thing that I'm thinking about. And so you're thinking about the dentist appointment, and then you have the dentist appointment, and then the rest of the day you're processing the dentist appointment. And so that's kind of how I have to run the days when I do my support groups on Wednesdays and Fridays. I love my support groups. They're awesome. But that's like, I say that's the only thing I can do on those days. I mean, a lot of times I end up getting some more work done, but it's a struggle because those days it's like kind of the only thing my brain can do is run those groups. And, there's a big amount of times, like I run one in the morning, usually at 10, and that's an hour. So 10 to 11, and then I don't have another one until 3. And that like 11 to 3, I wish I could tell you what I do during that time. I do stuff, but, a lot of it I think is having trouble prioritizing what I'm doing, for that stint of time. So I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn. And I know, I'm usually pretty good at giving myself grace, and I'm learning how to incorporate more rest. But again, it's just hard because there's not like who can I compare myself to? Like, what other neurodivergent content creators or what, it's that, we all know comparison is the thief of joy. As soon as I start comparing myself to other people, it's like, just takes all the joy out of what I'm doing. And I've gotten a lot better at not doing that. It's just, I think the summer in general has been so difficult for me because my floor is gone. Like, just my consistent schedule and routine it just evaporated into thin air. And that's really, I just feel untethered. I guess it's kind of like in a very large sense, the dentist appointment thing where it's like, okay, we're going back to school. We haven't gone back to school yet, but I'm thinking about the fact that we're going back to school. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still preparing for it. And then we're going to go back to school. And then I'm going to have another period on the other side of it where I'm like, we're back in school and trying to figure out like what happened. Oh, I don't know if this is making any sense to the people, to y'all watching. But yeah, I would just say, and I got to talk about this a little bit at the conference where I got to speak with Dr. Temple Grandin this summer. The bottom line for me is just, tell your story, do it imperfectly, and just start somewhere. I think a lot of people when they're first starting out, they think, oh, I need a logo, I need a website, I need a mission statement, I need the right email address, like I need a business email address that doesn't say Gmail, whatever. Like, there's so many lies we tell ourselves or things we think we have to have in order before we can get going. But the truth of the matter is just tell your story and Do it in a way that feels right to you. So if that's through art or music or writing or speech, movement, dance, teaching, and explore. Be willing to just kind of have fun with it. And whoops, maybe that was not the right direction to take, but now I know I can cross that direction off the list. I'm going to try something new. So just keep it lighthearted, and it's all, this whole life thing is just one big experiment anyway, right? So try not to take yourself too seriously. And somebody out there, I promise, needs to hear your story. They really do. And hopefully y'all know me by now, those of you that are on the channel, but that are here regularly. I love doing this. Like, this is the best job in the whole world. I can't believe that I get to do this every day. And this is not a complaint session. This is not like, oh, woe is me, because I freaking love it. I freaking love what I get to do. It's just hard sometimes. It's really hard. It's really hard to juggle everything. I've stopped kind of using the word balance, because I think that balance is, I don't know if it's I think it's unattainable. It's not that I'm trying to be in balance. I'm just trying to keep all the plates spinning. And sometimes some of the plates are spinning more dangerously than others. But it's hard. It's really hard. But I'm really grateful for the work I get to do. And I just want to encourage you that if you're in a similar situation of just wondering, how do I manage this? Or how do I work with my patterns instead of against them? Just do the next best thing. Be in this present moment. Do the next best thing. You don't have to prioritize and figure out the next 10 steps. Just go to the next one step. And when you're on that stepping stone, you can determine what the best next stepping stone is. Okay. All right. Well, cheers to being unevenly productive and showing up in the world in whatever way feels best to you today. Check these babies out. I promise you won't be disappointed with them. They're so sexy and sleek and just perfectly designed. I do not use those terms lightly, because design, feel, quality is important to me. They have nailed it. So check out the link in the description. Use the code MOM on the spectrum for 10% off at checkout. And I'll see you in the next video. Planned or unplanned, I don't know, but I'm sure there'll be another one coming around the corner. Okay, be kind to yourself. Transitions to end things are hard. Bye.